Alright, it is day 4 of the little unsolved mystery with the forks in my kitchen. Anyways, I'm going to throw this note away because it's kind of out of place by this time, and I don't think my roommates are really acknowledging it. The guy who actually misplaced the fork, he might feel guilty about it because apparently the forks haven't gone missing, but didn't really acknowledge it, which gave me a weird feeling. Let's put it that way. Anyways, I'm going to demand a recount of the forks just to see where we are. I haven't looked at it since last night when I was recording the video. Let's see, 2, 5, 8, 9, 12, 15, uh-oh. Oh, good, 18. Okay, good. I thought I would spend a few moments to talk about why this situation bothered me so much. First of all, I like having a place where I can feel safe, right? The fact that my other roommate suggested that I could just take the forks back to my room and lock them up there, when he said it, it really upset me. I mean, I tried to be friendly with it, but it really upset me. This is a home. This is not a jail or a shelter or a place that I'm squatting at where I would want to hide things, right? Or, when you start having to put things that should belong in the kitchen in your room, it kind of feels like one of those situations, right? So back in, a year and a half ago when I was kind of pseudo squatting, right? My landlord didn't want to renew the lease. She had to because of the eviction moratorium, but it really put an edge between us, right? We could no longer work on friendly terms anymore. That's the kind of place where you would want to hide stuff, right? I didn't want to put my valuables in the home anymore because I didn't know where things were going to go, right? When I was working on my PhD, I had to live in my office. I had lost all my money to a bad relationship. That's the kind of time where you would have to hide your silverware. I obviously couldn't keep silverware in my office because the custodian would realize what I was up to. I'd have to move it out to my car or hide it somewhere. You know, when somebody suggests that you take your silverware to your room, it turns your home into one of those situations, right? Okay, that's the number one reason why I wanted to deal with this, because I didn't want to have to feel like I was squatting in this place. Number 2 is because missing forks used to be a big problem for me. You gotta understand where I come from. 2 years ago, I used to have a big eating disorder. And, see, a lot of people have, they look at me and I wasn't very overweight. I was somewhat overweight, not very overweight. And they said, how could you have an eating disorder? Well, what they don't understand is how I was eating, right? I might not have been eating a big volume of food, but when I wanted the food, I wanted it, right? So you can compare this to an alcoholic who suddenly can't find his bottle, right? I would go to the refrigerator, I would get food that I was getting ready to prepare, and my roommate stole it or something like that, and I would be a mess. Especially here in Levine, you don't want that to happen because the nearest grocery store is about 2 miles away. I don't think, when I was in that kind of a mess, I don't think I could safely drive 2 miles. And I'd be ready to prepare my food. There's no forks. And I would just be a huge mess. To give you an idea, let's talk about a few stories that I've had in the past. I was at a conference in Macau, and I couldn't find any of my favorite foods. I naively went there thinking that, I've been to Taiwan, I've been to Tokyo, didn't have problems finding food there. I naively went there thinking it was like that. And I go to a couple restaurants, and they think I'm crazy for asking about ingredients. I got to avoid MSG, and couldn't find any suitable foods. And then the cost of eating there gave me a big shock as well. I had gone to a restaurant and I looked at the menus and I'm like, hey, this is not so bad. And then I realized it's Macau currency. I was thinking it was Taiwanese dollars. And if the price were Taiwanese dollars, it would be quite normal. So everything was like 4 times more expensive over there. and I became a huge mess. I wanted to change the airline ticket to come home early, but I realized that would be even more expensive than putting up with the expensive food there. I just became a huge mess, not being able to eat as much as I wanted to. I was at another conference in Taiwan, and during one of the events, I couldn't resist going out to get food, and when I came back, I couldn't find any of my opponents for one of the computer games either. It just became a huge mess. It upset everybody that I had. They were late getting home and all that. I was. Well, I talked about how it drove me crazy at several jobs that I've been at. I've had times where I had to leave or show up late with somebody that I was dating. I've had times when I just couldn't focus, right? I talked about yesterday how clean my computer has been. And these last couple of weeks I've been fasting very aggressively because I want to, we might have to go back to work in the office. My biggest disappointment is that my mouth still waters in anticipation of food, right? So I prepare some fish, like how I was talking about yesterday, and before the fish is even completely done, my mouth starts watering. And you might not think that's a big deal. It's a big deal because if my mouth is watering and something happens, right? My girlfriend shows up to my place, the boss calls me, hey, could you pick up this shift? Something like the Breonna Taylor thing happens, right? The police come and raid the wrong house. You get the idea, right? Or the forks are missing in the home. You get the idea, right? I have a hard time adjusting away from planning to eat. And I need to get better. I am better at that than 2 years ago, but my mouth still waters in anticipation of eating, and I need to stop that because sooner or later I won't be able to get to my food even though my mouth is watering like crazy, right? Thanks for watching.